Hi, I need to take a little bit of a... So you will have seen, hopefully, may or may not have seen, I've just opened the doors for the registration for the next challenge. Woo! Cannot wait. But I need to just chill because I'm now here live to talk to you about today's Walk the Talk. We're on day 10. What am I going to do when I've run out of fingers? Day 10. So today we're talking empowerment, and it fits really nicely with the challenge launch. Not accidentally, of course, because empowerment is one of those words that means lots of different things to different people. And I went through university learning an element of HR and at the time personnel management, and we talked about empowering employees then, which I find now quite an ironic phrase, because as an employee, I think actually the last thing I felt was empowered. When you're effectively told when to work and what to do while you're there, how on earth can you feel empowered? You have like this much decision-making capability. Obviously it varies to role, but it doesn't feel particularly empowering when you're an employee. But one thing that I embrace, hence the name of this group, is allowing yourself to feel empowered. And that's really where a lot of this comes from. That there's a whole heap of studies done around how we kind of psychologically contract with something and how we make that connection and how that then makes us feel. So although you may just call it a relationship, actually you've got like a give and take relationship. And if you feel as though you're giving more than you're getting back in return, that sort of strips you of your empowerment and feeling in control, which over time is really restricting to you. So what is empowerment in my terms now, in my world? Well, for me, it's really around owning what you do and taking total responsibility for what you do. Now, that has two sides to it, because it means that everything that you do when you work for yourself has to be self-generated. So you've got to get yourself up on a morning, you've got to find your own motivation. If you're having the off day, which lots of us have, let's be honest, but yet you've got certain things planned, you've kind of still got to show up and do your thing. So you still have an element of responsibility to yourself, but it's you that controls that. So actually you can make those choices. Now, when you create a business, you have to be resourceful, and I've done another day on resourceful, so we won't recap on that, but having the ability to go out and find the information you need, bring it back and do something with it, and then create something is the most empowering feeling in the world, because you then have that control. You have the ability to create the thing, to take that to the world and almost like birth it like an idea, like you would a child, and you feel nothing but pride for it, that's how I feel about the challenge that's coming up. It's something which I've developed. I delivered in early May, and that was phenomenal. Lots of people had great things to say about how much they enjoyed it, and now seeing how they're developing themselves and developing their businesses is brilliant. But actually from how do I feel about that? Well, that makes me feel really empowered, because I have the ability to do that now. It's up to me what I bring to people, how I help people, how I enable them to do what they do. So how do I coach it? So empowerment isn't something that you can just teach, it's a feeling. So if I said to you, well, now you should feel empowered, that's probably going to have the opposite effect, because you're going to think of all the reasons why you don't feel empowered. So you have to generate it yourself. So how do I do that with the people that I work with? So I make sure that I give them the pointers. I make sure that I've given them the guidance and I've shown them, so that I've opened doors into places that they perhaps wouldn't have gone into. But what I've said to them is, here's the door, I've opened it for you. Now you need to go in and have a look. You need to go in and have a look round. What does that mean for you? What can you find out about that thing? So I always encourage your own work. So it's about you creating that feeling for yourself. So it might be that it's a research task. It might be that you have to go and find something out that's quite specific to your business or how you're feeling about something. But by doing that, by going and finding the information, you can generate that knowledge yourself, and then you feel empowered. Because if I presented everything as well, here you go, here's how you do it all, it's really one-sided, and actually it doesn't sink in anyway because you've not created it yourself. I need to cough, I've talked so much today. Sorry. So being able to actually have that ability to go and research but be guided with it so you're not wasting the time, that can feel really empowering. But also being able to know that you're in control, so you're responsible for your own successes, totally and utterly. I love celebrating with people when they get their successes. It's amazing. That feeling is phenomenal. But actually it's everything that they've generated themselves. So how much pride can that that feeling of I've done this, I've created this thing, and I've been able to take it to the world, and wow, it is like that just pride will burst out of you. It's amazing. So from a coaching perspective, it's really about leading people through a journey and allowing them to step into what they know they're able to do, but they're perhaps not totally jumping into it with both feet. How do I do it? How do I live it? So for me, it's really about taking that responsibility, and it's interesting that how you do one thing is how you do everything. And actually watching my children now, I often sort of observe them and their behaviours in a different sense now that I coach others, and actually allowing them to take responsibility and understand that what they did meant this, and how they're feeling is because that happened, but then they're choosing to feel that way is a really freeing approach to take. So I really try and live by this. I take responsibility. So if something niggles me, if something annoys me because of something someone did, I really try and sit and have a word with myself and say, okay, so why have I let that thing impact me and my emotions? Why have I let that thing get to me? What does that say about me? What do I need to readdress? What is it that I'm not doing which is actually irritating me, but I've kind of vented it in something else? And this, by the way, can be such small things that just kind of trigger you disproportionately. So taking responsibility of me gives the power, sort of forces the power back to me from I have the ability to, yes, get irritated at times, but then do something about it, because I'm not for a minute imagining that everyone just floats through their life going, well, I choose how I feel and I'll never get irritated and I'll never be made to feel sad or angry or frustrated. We do. But actually, it's then sort of what you do with it. Are you going to let it breed? Are you going to let it fester and then burst out in another way? Or are you able to go, right, okay, so that thing happened and now I'm going to deal with it in this way? So I really, really try and practice that. And a big thing around that is not blaming, because it's so easy, it's so quick. And again, I see my kids doing it all the time. So one of them tripped on the stairs and ended up with like a carpet grazed down his elbow. And straight away he said, that's because the so-and-so was on the stairs, which I didn't put there. He put, somebody else had put there. So he straight away dived in for it wasn't my fault I fell down the stairs because of the thing on the stairs. But actually, when I talked to him, I said, well, if you'd taken the thing up instead of just walking up and ignoring it, then the thing wouldn't have been there on the way down to falling over. So yes, there is an element that if it wasn't there, it wouldn't have been tripped over. But having that ability to not blame and being fair to everybody and saying, I'm responsible for the things that I do, gives me total empowerment. In my own business, I'm able to make my own decisions. I'm accountable to myself. I have to effectively report to myself in terms of my success. Hi, Monica. So yeah, being empowered for me, it's embracing that freedom. It's embracing that ability to take my message to the world and do it with total confidence that I know that I'm helping people. That feels empowering for me. Being able to say, I'm going to go live now as opposed to, yesterday when I was painting all day. So actually, that gives me the empowerment because I'm making those choices and I'm responsible for that. So empowerment embodies all sorts of emotions, but for me, probably the biggest one, it's the taking responsibility. Because if something isn't going right, it isn't anyone else's fault. If something is going really, really well, that also isn't anybody else's fault. It is yours. So you have to take the rough with the smooth when you talk about empowerment, but it's really, really close to that responsibility piece. And for me, if you can really, truly embody that responsibility piece, that's when things start to feel easier. That's when things start to feel freer. And it's just easier because you know it's all down to you. So celebrate those successes and that amazing breakthrough that you have, but then also allow yourself that time to move through the difficult times and let those pass as well. So that's been today. Let me just tell you again about the amazing this is the hardest thing to say in the world, Employed to Empowered Entrepreneur. So that is a 5-day challenge. We are starting in 2 weeks. So honestly, I'm going to tell you about it every single day between now and then. A week today, we're going to do 8 p.m. And the reason behind that is that I was hoping people's days will be done. The chaos that is my house may not be quite so chaotic. And we can just sit down for an hour and I can deliver masses of content for you. So this has grown from my 3-day challenge. It's been based on the feedback that I had and all the additional bits that I wanted to include but didn't last time, so hence I've extended it. It is going to be an amazing transformational process. It's really about getting to grips with what is your superpower, how can you take that to the world, how can you develop that into a business model, and it's really about you understanding that you're already there now, you already have those skills to take forward and develop. So registration is really so you know you're getting the alerts, you're getting the notifications, and that you know where we're going to be when we go live as well. So register on the link. I'll drop it into these comments as well, and I would love to see you as many as possible there live because it makes it when you've got that interaction. So I look forward to seeing you really soon, and I'll see you tomorrow for the next Walk the Talk, which I've got no idea what it is, but I haven't got my list because I'm sat with Daisy and not at my desk. So go and have a great afternoon, and I will see you all tomorrow. See you later. Bye.